you. Thank you, Minister, for coming in today. And I suppose last week I spoke about some of the horrors within our state care system and the fact that we had 30 deaths last year and 7 of them were through suicide. And that is something that makes me very sad to see that our youth and our young people are dying in state care. This is an area I am extremely familiar about, and I'd love to think that everything was all rosy in the garden, but I hate to tell you all here today that it's far from it. There's some excellent social care workers out there, some excellent foster care parents out there, but we need more. We need a lot more. We need probably twice the amount of what we have now. Last year, because of COVID, and probably this year as well, they were very limited in actually trying to get parents to foster and trying to get people trained up in fostering. So, and then a lot of parents that were on the foster care team were reluctant to take children into care because of the COVID as well. So these kids probably ended up in residential care and maybe the private sector. So that's a real difficulty that we have. So we need to find ways around how we can encourage more parents, encourage more people. Single, doesn't matter what demographic you're from, you can still foster a child. If you've got a bed and you've got a home and you're Garda vetted and you have you can provide love and support to a child, that's all that child needs. I particularly deal with the teenagers. They're probably the hardest cohort to house because people run a mile from them. I don't know why, because I find they're probably the most engaging. They're the most engaging children that you can get inside your door. They come with the challenges, but certainly once you put them on the right path, they can bring you great joy. And but I wanted to there's a third of the children in Dublin are placed outside the area. Now that's a real concern. The kids cannot get a foster placement in their own area. They can't continue on their school. They can't continue on the things that they found normal, playing in the local clubs and stuff like that. So that, if we can try and get children to be placed in their own area, that will really, really help. I'm just going to read you a testament from a young person whom I would know. And she's 21 and she's a full-time student in the aftercare services. And this is her testament. I would like to first of all say that aftercare services have been crucial to me in transitioning to adulthood, and I'm forever grateful for the support, funding and care that aftercare has provided me in the last 3 years. I could not have achieved what I have today without their help. However, there are, in my opinion, a number of deficits in the way that aftercare services currently operates. Firstly, it's important to raise that I am a full-time student. It is that reason that at 21 years of age, I am still supported by the services. Remaining in full-time education is a requirement of such services, as you may be aware. I understand the principle is to keep young people in education. However, this is often to the detriment of those who choose not to pursue education. Whatever the reason may be, they still need support. It is also personally, to me, a big fear I have. As I mentioned, I'm 21 yet now. I have a degree in law and I'm currently studying to receive my master's degree. I worry that when I finish my master's, what will happen to me? I know this is a worry for many of my friends who are also in aftercare. There are many opportunities I want to pursue after this year, but cannot, as they do not meet the criteria of full-time education required by these services. As a result, I am financially constrained and cannot pursue opportunities such as internships, volunteering abroad and more. I understand this may not seem like a serious issue, but I believe this requirement does stop young people reaching their full potential and in most serious cases leaves young people homeless and without financial stability in a matter of weeks after turning 18. Leading on to my second point, I believe that the cut-off age of 23 is too young. I think this could be extended to meet circumstances in each individual case. This requirement again means a loss of opportunity for many young people who still need these vital supports after the age of 23. I struggled badly with my mental health, and aftercare has provided vital support to me. It is the fear that this can be cut off in as little as a year and a half. Many of us young people come into care and need aftercare with a lot of baggage. Many of us have mental health conditions, physical conditions, and need to be continued support. This need does not go away just because we turn a certain age. The age of support needs to be reviewed so that the assessment can be made on an individual case basis. On the topic of precarious state of many young people's mental health, I think that another issue that should be flagged is the availability and quality of psychiatric and counselling services that aftercare are in a position to offer a young person. Aftercare provided me with a set of 10 sessions of counselling, and I am forever grateful for this. However, it took me to reach a very dangerous place mentally before I was offered this service. Now, the only support I receive is from a university counsellor. Many of us in aftercare cannot afford prices such as €60 or €70 an hour to speak to a counsellor when this is almost half of the allowance we receive on a weekly basis to support ourselves for food, transport and otherwise. This is the average price of counselling from her own personal experience and may not be accurate in all cases. I believe that the mental health services need to be improved within the aftercare services. Mental health conditions are unfortunate reality that many young people from care face every day. Finally, she says this so many times, she's so grateful for the aftercare service and how compassionate they've been to her over the years. Many of the issues I have flagged are not something that individual aftercare workers have control of or can fix themselves. And there she's thanking everybody again. But they're just the issues that I would face with a lot of children that are in aftercare that would come back to me. There's also, I was on a meeting today with children in poverty, and there was a number of us there today, and they spoke about TUSLA. I asked, do any of the parents ever contact the family support services that are available through TUSLA? And they said, no way, they'd run a mile. They'd run a mile before they pick the phone up and talk to TUSLA. Now, that has to be our go-to for families when they're in trouble. It really should be our go-to. If families are in trouble, they pick up the phone, that there's somebody there. And that's the TUSLA that I want. That's the service that I want for our children of this nation. That if children are in trouble, or families are in trouble, and they can see breakdowns happening, that the family support service in TUSLA will be there. But parents are afraid to even touch them. They're running a mile from them. So that's a really red flag, Minister. So I really want you to do something about that. I'm sorry, the Fortune Care, the service for the 36 children that are coming in. The right thing to do. I'm always mindful of all those that are suffering in the world and the refugees that are out there that need our support. I just want to know, is that the long term, is that long term or short term for those children that are coming into care? Because, you know, those kids, if they're coming into care, if they're in short term care, you don't want them to be moved around 2 or 3 years later. So I would hope that those cases are long term care. The residential placements, sorry, I'm probably taking too long here. The residential placements, the suitable residential placements. Now, I was talking to Lynn earlier on, I was talking about Lefroy. I don't know, they call it Lefroy House. So if a child can't get into emergency services, I might have a child through emergency service myself, and I can't take another child. They're then put on to Lefroy House. Now, that Lefroy House is a mix of young teenagers and adults, and those young teenagers have to be out there at 9 o'clock in the morning. So we really need to have suitable emergency places for children. I'm sorry, I know you're looking at me, and I'm so sorry for taking so much time.
Because you have such vast personal experience in this area,
sorry.
Senator, I'm not cutting you off.
Thank you.
Because you're over time.
Sorry,
I think the minister would benefit, and I know he knows a huge amount in this area, but people like yourselves who have great knowledge, I think it's important that you're able to bring those stories to the minister and say this is what's working and this is what is not working. So I think that's very important.